Welcome to Ethiopia Today.
How U.S. retreat will define the GERD dispute. Tensions between Ethiopia and Egypt over a highly controversial dam on the Blue Nile are expected to rise over the next few months as the rainy season marks the next phase in filling the reservoir. The dispute already represents one of the world's most serious diplomatic conundrums at a time when climate change is making water scarcity a more critical issue, says Disengagement. Disengagement is a political analyst who focuses on the Middle East and South Asia. He also consults on socio-economic development for government and private sector entities. As usual, we will firstly present the writer's views and then bring our expert analysis and views. Let's get straight into the presentation. Disengagement continued, adding to the complexity. The conflict is likely to become emblematic of ongoing shifts away from a US-dominated unipolar world order. The transition is expected to witness the emergence of China in regions vacated or neglected by the US and the emergence of regional multilateral groupings that will manage collective regional security. In February this year, Ethiopia began generating electricity from the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD despite protests from downstream countries, he added. The dam is a flagship project for Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who needs the project to come to fruition now more than ever. Disengagement continued. Reeling from a damaging civil war in Tigray and a faltering economy, the dam will allow Abiy to whip up nationalist sentiment. Meanwhile, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisii faces political turbulence in the months ahead due to Egypt's economy being particularly exposed to the global repercussions of the Ukraine war. Having framed the dam as an existential threat to Egypt, its completion by Ethiopia carries high political costs for el-Sisii. Yet, neither he nor Abiy can afford to go to war over the issue. Ethiopia has faced strident criticism and sanctions from the US over the Tigray conflict, and Addis Ababa believes Washington has favored the Egyptian position on the dam. As a result, the US is no longer considered a neutral arbiter, at least by Ethiopia. Furthermore, US President Joe Biden's administration is far too distracted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and China to pay attention to rising tensions between Ethiopia and Egypt. It would be happy to outsource the problem to its allies in the Gulf, which maintain good relations with Addis Ababa, Khartoum, and Cairo. Yet the lack of active involvement by the US is another sign of its waning global influence and a harbinger of the eventual transition away from a world dominated by one superpower. Earlier this month, the Biden administration's special envoy for the Horn of Africa announced his resignation a mere 3 months after assuming his position. His predecessor too resigned after less than a year on the job. This is a further sign of drift in US foreign policy, particularly towards the region. Thus far, Biden's administration has taken a position on the dam that is sympathetic to Cairo. It is unlikely to adopt a more neutral position because the US is keen for Egypt to export gas to Europe in light of American and EU efforts to cut Russian gas imports. The drawdown of American influence on the Nile Dam dispute paves the way for a more significant Chinese involvement in the issue and the broader region. China has funded the dam and has considerable commercial investments in Ethiopia and security-related assets in the Horn of Africa. It also backs the regime of Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in Sudan. It is a crucial investor in Egypt's new administrative capital project, in which el-Sisii has invested considerable political capital. Beijing, along with Moscow, has repeatedly used its veto power at the UN Security Council to prevent harsh condemnation of Ethiopia's conduct in the Tigray War. China is likely to step up efforts to bring Addis Ababa, Khartoum, and Cairo to the negotiating table. As a result, it is expected to emerge as a critical power in the Horn of Africa region and increase its influence in Egypt and the Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC), consisting of United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Indeed, just as the Biden administration flounders on its foreign policy towards the Horn of Africa, China's recently appointed special envoy to the region toured several countries there in March and announced that Beijing would host a peace conference dedicated to the region this year. Rising tensions over the dam in the context of a waning American presence will allow regional states to seek closer integration on security matters. Without an immediate solution to the dam issue, Egypt is likely to pursue tighter integration with Sudan to present a united front against Ethiopia. Disengagement. This also works to benefit al-Burhan's regime in Khartoum, particularly since the coup last year that overthrew the civilian-led transitional government. Recently, al-Burhan visited Cairo and both countries agreed to coordinate on GERD. Al-Burhan's government could benefit from the technical expertise and collaboration promised by Cairo during his visit. By extension, GCC states and Israel are likely to extend support to Sudan and use Khartoum's relations with Addis Ababa to help mediate a solution to the dam conflict. The GCC could become a valuable interlocutor for China as Beijing chooses to ensure the successful completion of its Belt and Road projects in the Horn of Africa and the larger Middle East. In this way, China could replace or rival the US as a significant power in the region. The GERD issue then will not only be a marker of a move away from a US-dominated world, but an important test case for China's superpower ambitions, Disengagement said, and concludes his arguments. Any intervention in this matter, please, Malcolm?
Yes, let me make some points here. To begin with, I agree with most of Disengagement views and analysis. However, the way he expressed the Ethiopia's beginning of electricity generation from the GERD, I don't think the writer has got full understanding of what GERD mean to Ethiopians. Disengagement argued that the GERD is a flagship project for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I think explaining in such a way overlooks or downgrades the GERD's importance to the people of Ethiopia. GERD is a flagship of the whole nation. Obviously, it is great achievement for the Prime Minister and he couldn't be happier with this. But nearly half of the population need electricity and have been eagerly waiting for that. Although Ethiopia is the source of Blue Nile River, which is the major tributary of the Nile River contributing over 85%. The colonial-era rights of the Nile River have violated the water rights of the upstream countries, including Ethiopia. Not only it violated the upstream countries' rights, but also they were totally ignored. A large proportion of the Ethiopian people have no access to electricity. Only 46% use electric energy for day-to-day activities like food preparation and other tasks out of its more than 115 million population. The sustainable development of the country will only be achieved when citizens are enabled to live up to the standard of living as humans. The GERD project is humanitarian too. The poverty of energy heavily impacts on the living standards of the people of Ethiopia, notably health and human resource development among others. The poverty of energy has strong impact on the health of women mainly, who use wood and charcoal for food preparation in the family. They are exposed to various respiratory diseases. The lack of electric power in households has a huge effect on ventilation and comfort of homes. The indoor pollution in homes will continue unless energy poverty is minimized in the country. The lack of power have negative impacts on such basic services as schools and health clinics too. Understanding and appreciating the concern and the problem of Ethiopia is so important for downstream countries. Egypt has been missing out this throughout. The GERD for Ethiopia is a project designed to enhance regional cooperation and integration, not conflict as opposed to the predictions. Egypt has for a long time held the major ownership of the water from the Nile River and prevented Ethiopia from constructing a dam, and has been doing everything to politicize the matter. Egypt even should to pay the compensation to Ethiopia for preventing or for its deliberate negative perception towards the project for such a long period. The Ethiopian people have been denied the right to access electricity, and the country needs to lift its population out of poverty by completing the project according to its plan. GERD is supposed to be completed in 2017 based on its initial project plan. The dam has been constructed through the earnest contribution of all citizens of Ethiopia and holds multiple benefits for the two downstream countries of Sudan and Egypt as well as the East African region at large, noting that the benefits for downstream countries are often untold. PM Abiy said during the inauguration ceremony of GERD's electricity generation that in Sudan, for example, the GERD provides ample protection against devastating floods and the effects of water shortage during drought and dry periods. It will help Sudanese water infrastructure to be operated optimally as they receive regulated flow. This means that more electricity could be generated from existing infrastructure and adequate and regular water could flow in the river downstream throughout the year to enable reliable water supply for people, agriculture and the ecology of the region contrary to the constant threat calls. The benefit especially to Egypt as a downstream country benefits from water conservation at the GERD instead of wastage of billions of cubic meters of water to evaporation and in downstream flood plains. The GERD also helps prevent future spillage that overtops the Aswan Dam. Globally and in the Nile region, the GERD as a clean renewable energy source would help to reduce emission that could avoid up to 10.6 million tons of greenhouse gases if it were produced from fuel, coal or gas plants. As for the US's current disengagement attitude in the dispute over the GERD, most Ethiopians see this as a great move. The America's involvement, from the beginning of the GERD to present, is against this humanitarian project. For example, the US blocked the loans supposed to finance the GERD project from international institutions like World Bank or IMF. However, the US's negative measure towards the project didn't discourage or hinder the launching of the GERD project. Every citizen of Ethiopia, home and abroad, involved in funding this huge project. As Disengagement clearly states, United States of America favored Egypt and shared its wrong alarm. Because of its such one-sided involvements both regionally and nationally, the people of Ethiopia has totally lost trust in America's administration. Actually, America has been fighting to maintain its own interest in the region, which has greatly contributed to instability in the Horn rather. Therefore, the US's disengagement will definitely boost both national and regional peace and stability. But for Ethiopians, it doesn't matter whoever comes in as a superpower to the region. Ethiopia always guided by the principle of caring and sharing nationally and regionally, including Egypt.
Thanks. This brings to the end of the presentation. We encourage you to post your own views in this very important issue.
Are you looking for professional website and secure web hosting services? If so, you have come to the right place. Everything you can imagine is real. for us impossible is just an opinion. As all our experts are highly professional and friendly, the digital home of your business is in safe hands and no more technical pressure on you. If you require a charity website, we have 20% off. Our team has already delivered great projects with highest standards which our customers always love. We are forward-thinking team and hunger to deliver more and help. Let's bring your dreams into reality. Get in touch today. Contact at ethiopiatodayofficial.org.
Thanks for staying with us. If you enjoyed our presentation, give us a like and share to your social contacts. And also don't forget to subscribe and tap on the notification bell if this is your first time. Please also check on our collection of favorites on the description section below. See you on our next video. Many thanks.